I haven't done any commentaries on this "Don't Say Gay" bill thing because really, it's out of my hands. Like, what can I really say to that? But I came across this video on my timeline, on my Twitter timeline, of a news clip from this anchor. I think her name is Mary Margaret Olahan, and she's interviewing this guy right here who was a teacher, and he's in the academy, and they're talking about the Don't Say Gay bill, and he mentions something about how he is upset about the bill because now he cannot discuss his love life with kindergartners anymore. I'm going to leave that right there, and I'm going to let the audio play, and you can hear for yourself what this person has to say.
Yeah, it's twofold. It really hits hard in my heart professionally and personally, both. Professionally, it truly makes me feel like I am not trusted as a professional. I know my kindergarten standards through and through, and nowhere in our curriculum does it have anything about teaching sexual orientation or sexual identity. So for them to say that's happening, it's kind of crazy. But we should be able to have discussions, and that's what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. And then personally, because my kids do have questions. They want to know who my partner is in pictures outside of my classroom, and I should be able to speak to that.
So do you worry that you won't even be able to talk about your own personal home life? I mean, I have a child in kindergarten right now. I know exactly that my child has two teachers, one of which has a daughter at home and is single. The other is married and has 4 children. I know everything about their lives because my kid tells me.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. That's what we do as educators. We build relationships with our kids. And in order to build relationships, you talk about your home life. You talk about what you do on the weekends. That's building community. It scares me to death that I'm not going to be able to have these conversations with my children because they're going to ask me what I did on the weekend. I don't want to have to hide that my partner and I went paddleboarding this weekend because then they ask, well, what does partner mean, Mr. Bernard? And, I'm worried. Can I tell them what it means? I'm also worried for my kids. I have a little girl this year who has 2 moms, and the kids are curious about her 2 moms. They want to know about her 2 moms. If they go to her and ask her about her 2 moms and she doesn't know what to say, they're going to come to me and ask me. And then, so what do I do? It opens up for parents to really take some legal action against the schools and teachers.
And that's the whole clip right there. It's probably more to it, but it cuts off right at that point. So you have this guy right here who's clearly in the academy, like I said before, and he said, they had the whole "Don't Say Gay" bill, and that's the bill that Ron DeSantis, or as I call him, Ron the Snowflake, has signed into law down there in Florida. And I can take another spin on this one, other than just people who are in the academy. I've always said that when it comes to adults' personal lives and their teachers, don't bring that into the classroom. Yes, we know that kids are curious and kids are very impressionable and they ask a lot of questions. But you can work around those questions and answer, the stuff that you feel that they should know, and not every single thing and every aspect of your life. And this doesn't necessarily have to just mean with kids. This can be with adults. I'm sure many of you out there have coworkers who love to ask about how your weekend was with so-and-so, or they like to tell you how their weekend was, and you don't even ask them. They just tell you, but then they expect you to give the same thing in return. And even if they ask you, a lot of people will only give bits and pieces. Like, they won't go completely in depth of what their personal life is like. They'll give you only what they allow themselves to give you, because once you start giving them too much, then they'll be digging for more. And then that's in that point where they're starting to become extremely nosy and everything like that. So you have to be very careful when it comes to that. But I've always said that when it comes to your personal life as an adult and you're a teacher, don't bring your personal life into the classroom, because those students don't need to know that. And I found it very interesting that he said, he called it, he was calling them my children rather than my students. I've always had kind of an issue when teachers refer to their students as their children, because I'm always thinking that if you're referring to someone as your child, I'm believing that you are the parent of that child, because no parent is going to call their child their student. So I feel like you should just refer to your students as your students and not as your children. Because at first I'm looking like when he said, when he was saying his children, I'm thinking like, does he have kids with his partner? Like, did they adopt, or was there a surrogate or anything like that? But he's talking about his students in the classroom. So there's that. All I'm saying is keep your personal life personal and your professional life professional. The students in the classroom do not need to be knowing about what you and your partner did over the weekend. It doesn't have to be relegated to those who are in the academy. This could be people who are in heterosexual relationships. Don't bring into the classroom what you're doing. Because like I said, those kids could run back and tell their parents what you said. And it could snowball into a whole bunch of different issues that you do not want. Because I'm sure no parent wants to hear about what their teacher was doing over the weekend. They just want to know, what did you do in class today? Like, did you learn anything? What did you have fun? All of that. Like, we're not here for a therapy session. Why are you bringing adult things in front of children that don't need to hear that? That's why a lot of these children start experimenting, quote unquote, with things early on, because they're watching or hearing things from adults. And truly, like I said, I came at it at an angle where it doesn't have to deal with necessarily your sexuality. It's just the fact of leave adult things in the adult realm and leave children things in the children realm. Because like I said, that can snowball into a domino effect. And once, one domino falls, the rest are going to tumble along with it. And you're not going to be able to stop it until all the dominoes have fallen. But yeah, and it's interesting because the person that I saw this from, they left the caption on the tweet itself, because this is from Twitter. They said, he's lonely, he needs friends. And that's what I'm saying. If you're going to talk about your personal life or whatever, that's what you have friends and family for. Do not tell your students who come to school to learn their ABCs and their numbers and all types, their math and all of that good stuff about what you and your partner did over the weekend. Like, they're really going to care about that. I find it hard to believe that some of these kids who are like 5 and 6, 7 years old are asking their teacher, how was your weekend, or what did you do with your partner over the weekend? Like I said, even though, like I said, kids are impressionable, I find it hard to believe that the vast majority of them are asking that question. But some of them probably will ask that question. If they ask the teacher the question, they're going to ask the question. If the teacher asks them how was their weekend, naturally some of the kids are probably going to ask them that question too. You can give them, I guess you can say, a G-rated version of whatever you did that weekend, but don't go to the extreme and tell them everything that you did in your personal spare time with whoever it is that you are cohabitating with. I'll put it like that. That's when you're starting to dig into a space where it's getting kind of dark. And keep in mind, these are elementary school kids. These are not college kids. Now, if this were college kids, then maybe, because at that point they're adults. So, on another level, you could probably relate, because now they've already probably engaged in certain acts, quote unquote. But even then, still don't bring your personal life in there all the way. You could probably go a little bit more into it, but not all the way in. But these are kids. They don't need to be hearing about all the extracurriculars. Just go there, do what it is that you're paid to do, go home and repeat the same thing the next day, the next week, the next month, and keep it like that. Just keep your professional life professional and your personal life personal.